As a young litigator, Ruth Bader Ginsburg argued cases that transformed the Supreme Court's view of gender equality. In 1993, she became the second woman justice appointed to the nation's highest court. She is known as much for her candor as for her unlikely friendship with conservative Justice Antonin Scalia. He died in February. Her new book, My Own Words, is published by Simon & Schuster, a division of CBS. We sat down for a conversation about Justice Ginsburg's own past and her vision for the Supreme Court's future. Whoever becomes president will have, when they arrive in the White House, an opportunity to appoint a new Supreme Court justice.
That's one scenario. Another possibility is after the
Exactly.
election, the Senate will act.
What would you like to see the Senate do?
Well, I would like to see the court have a full House by the time this term ends.
You'd like to see the court have a full
Have
House
9 members, yes.
before this term ends?
Yes.
No thought of retiring?
I have said that I will hold this office as long as I can do the job full steam.
And you're doing it full steam?
So I know that this year I'm okay. At my age, I'm 83, you have to take it year by year.
Many people, have been fascinated by the fact that Ruth Bader Ginsburg and Antonin Scalia were friends. We all know that you both loved opera. You have told me when we talked in your chambers that he was a better singer than you are.
He was a much better singer. Justice Scalia had a very good tenor voice. I am a monotone.
We agree on a whole lot of stuff.
You do.
Ruth is really bad only on the knee-jerk stuff. She is.
Do you miss him on the court?
Of course I do.
Because
it's a paler place without him. He had an uncanny ability to make even the most somber judge smile.
when you came to the court, Sandra Day O'Connor was your good friend.
Yes.
And when she left, you said that was a turning moment.
When Sandra left, it was a very lonely place for me to be. That is, the perception of the court, we come and sit on the bench, and there's the audience of spectators, and they saw 8 rather well-fed men up there. And then there was a small little woman. It was the wrong perception.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been just over 23 years, so I sit by seniority close to the middle. Justice Sotomayor is on now my left side, Justice Kagan on my right side. We are 1/3 of the court, and my newest colleagues are not shrinking violets. They take a very active part in the colloquy that goes on at oral argument.
This is the first book you have written since being a justice of the Supreme Court.
Yes, not the first book ever. The first book was the bestseller called Civil Procedure in Sweden.
I missed that one. But you've always been interested in procedure.
Yes, I taught procedure for 17 years.
When did this love affair with the law, how did it begin?
My interest in becoming a lawyer was sparked in the 1950s when I was a student, an undergraduate student at Cornell. It was the heyday of Senator Joe McCarthy. It was not a good time for our country.
Have you no sense of decency, sir?
My professor of constitutional law brought to my attention the lawyers that were appearing before the people, called before the committees. Lawyers who reminded Congress we have a First Amendment and we have a Fifth Amendment.
You saw the law as a protector of individual liberty.
Yes, yes. I thought it could be a way to make a living, plus to do something that would make conditions in your society a little better.
There was another student at Cornell
Yes.
who decided to become a lawyer too.
Yeah, my dear husband.
Your
Yeah.
dear husband.
Yeah, in fact, we had decided that whatever we do it together. Marty started out as a chemistry major, but his true major was golf.
Yes.
And labs were in the afternoon, interfered with golf practice. So then it was either business school or law school.
You're at Harvard,
Yeah,
and you transferred to Columbia.
yeah.
Both great law schools, But why transfer?
Marty was 1 year ahead of me. He had had his first year at Harvard and then was called into service. My daughter was 3 years old, and I didn't want to be a single mom, so I left Harvard.
And Harvard didn't give you a degree. And then Marty comes to you, though, and says, don't go back and accept anything from Harvard unless they're willing to give you an honorary degree.
Which I received in 2011.
And there's a picture in your chambers of you and Placido Domingo.
Yes,
And he's singing to you.
yes.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg,
In the red Harvard graduation robes.
Yes.
direct from the Supreme Court.
And your title for that picture is what?
Woman in Ecstasy. That's me.
Thank you for this time. I enjoyed it very much.
I did too.
I like
Oh,
that,
I
a woman in
love her.
ecstasy.
What a
Oh,
sweet
God,
way
I
to
love her.
end, too.
You talked about, too, what many people don't realize, too, her legacy in terms of being a great legal mind.
Exactly, and really, she's been called the Thurgood Marshall of the women's rights movement. Before she was even a judge, she was writing briefs about gender discrimination, and has continued that fight all her life.
Yeah.
I love that she's 83 going full steam, because I often hear about her described as frail.
No,
But there's nothing.
She was alive and funny.
Oh,
and
very
a
much
great-
so.
We loved it.
And her
Yeah.
voice is monotone. I like that.
Yeah.
And I get the great pleasure in a couple of weeks at the New York Bar Association to do her and Justice Sonia Sotomayor together.
Oh, that'll be fascinating.
fun?
Yeah.
That's what you like, smart girls.
Bet.
On either side of you. That was very nice. You can see the full interview with Justice Ginsburg tonight on Charlie's PBS program. You know he's got one.